Shout out to everybody here on this beautiful Friday, baby. Let's go. Can Bitcoin hold 66,000? Can we make a buck here? Or should we stay away? Let's find out on Friday. Okay. I reloaded. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lover Show. Let's go, baby, to the top. Sorry, I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling ready to go. I hope you are too. Let's take a look at BTC, see if there's opportunity for the opportunist. 66,000. I lost my trade after sitting there all night, kind of flat sideways. Guess I could have shorted. There was a kind of somewhat of a descending triangle. We're looking to see, remember what I was writing last night, October, December, but that makes you think, right? 8, 9, 10. January, February, March. There's 13 months in the year. Something's going on, right? Anyway, we'll break it down. One day we will get to the top or the bottom of this. That's what I meant. We will get to the top of this. We'll figure it out. I'm telling you right now. And I'll take my little shot like I do with y'all every single morning here. Just a health shot. Sometimes this one's called the full immunity. It's like elderberry, a bunch of different stuff. Vitamin C. It's just a pack. Ah, that's nice. Okay. Let's break down BTC. See what's going down. See what's cracking. Can we get a push? Is there going to be a bounce? Can the 4-hour just hold and somehow get a reversal here to the upside? We will see. Attempt to make a higher low here. A bit of a cup and handle. After that nasty dump to the downside. Bang, right? Just started to consolidate yet again. Showed the model. 21 above the 200. Getting I had already gotten in here. You see? I had already gotten in right here. And I'd already put my stop down here, Anyway, it wasn't bad. 277. So I'd be, you know what I mean? I was going like 300 for $1,000. I basically had opened up the trade right here and went 300 for $1,000. You know what I mean? Simple trade. Figured it made sense to me. And I ended up moving up and getting hit for what, or maybe it was 277 for like 968 or something. Like there was a tweak there, whatever. I might have been going a little higher or lower, however it was. Something like that, maybe. But the point of the story is, because this poll was actually a little longer there too. You could even gone there, but anyway. But I knew the market was sketch, didn't seem right, something was off, and there was low volume. So I decided I wasn't going to go 3,000 for 9,000. And we had made a good, really good calls throughout the morning, and the last weekend was pay. So the weekends, for some reason, have been big paydays. As you remember, we pulled off the short and the long as I took down like 3,500. Then I was able to hit another 15. Then this trade, the gold trade, I'm still holding, which is still up dang near about $1,000. As gold's holding its own right now, if people keep saying now you're getting a lot, I don't know if you've heard the news and the rumors. I don't even like to spread them, but you can hear about them yourself. But there's, world is in stress, people in peril. You could hear people are being told to leave certain areas. You see what I'm saying? For certain reasons. And we're seeing drones disappearing over certain countries and stuff of that nature. So it is what it is. I pray all the time that we don't see what is, been prophesized this whole time, right? The WW3, right? It's like it has to happen, right? But whatever happens, I pray that, you stay safe, I stay safe. And no matter what, we have faith in God no matter what goes on. And we don't lose faith no matter what. And things could change. The story could change. The narrative could change. They could get in your head. But there is always one creator that knows you, that has been behind you, that believes in you, and that when you tap in is always there and is never, always behind you. I'm telling you, I can't stress this enough. I've been down and out so many times all by myself with nobody there. But there was always someone with me. I was never alone, and I can't explain it fully, but I'm just telling you I was never alone. And truly close your eyes and ask yourself, are you truly alone? There is a being, there is a higher power with you at all times. What is this existence? You wake up, you don't even know who you were. You're told who you are as you grow up. You're told your name. You're told you were this, and we bore you here, and we raised you. You don't remember much until you're 5, right? It's just, what I mean? What an interesting existence. And then you never know when you go. I mean, it's a pretty insane experience when you think about it. And you make connections with people, and some disappear early, some are with you for life. It all depends. Let's break down Bitcoin and break it down. Sorry to get so philosophical, but, philosophical Fridays. I was going to make it philosophical Fridays. Philly Fridays, baby. We break down the what behind trading. The inside of trading. We show you what you want to know about trading that you don't talk about in your sleep. Okay. Let's break down what I see happening here on the monthly. So let's, the thing about Bitcoin is, and any asset in the world is, if you're new and you're just watching, is you definitely want to look at it, if you can, from the biggest time frame you can get a handle on, right? This is a little, doesn't have as much amazing information, but what it does have is candle information. And candle information, I'm telling you, is really how the world works, which is insane, as simple as it is, right? But so if Bitcoin, we'd like to see it close back above 71,000, right? 71,009, 71,005, I keep saying, it's like 300, but 71,009 would be preferable for me if we could have it. You know what I'm saying? But it looks like it's likely, we have one more day left in the month, or 2 days, today and tomorrow. And to me, it's obviously like it's going to close. And we'll have a Saturday night monthly candle close, which is going to be awesome. So we'll hit it with that. But yeah, it looks like it's obviously going to close here bearishly. Let's be honest with ourselves. And we for any type of reversal, we would have to get the March candle to close green. Like, see here, we got a red, and then we got a green candle, we reversed. We got a red, we got a green, we reversed. Doesn't mean it reverses every time you get a red next to a green, like here, but anytime you've ever reversed, you've had to have a green candle next to a red one first. Any reversal in history of any asset. And this is universal. And this is why candle trading is key, because it goes on every single asset. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not on one thing. It doesn't work on this and not work on that. It doesn't pick it doesn't go back and forth. It's not choosy. You see what I'm saying? It's universal for all assets. So it's a really interesting concept. That's why you always want to get into your support and resistance. This is support and resistance, folks, just in case anyone doesn't understand exactly what we're doing. It's called, literally, it has a name. There's a reason for it. And it's defined as candle bodies really closing for me. Other people sometimes use wicks. I like the defined areas of the bodies of the candles. You can see how clean it looks. The idea is if the monthly candle ever closes below 58, it's likely going to 49. And there's no saying that it can't go to 30,000. I mean, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bearish news. And every single time, if this is a bear market retracement, like it's been since we've been below the daily 200 moving average, which I've told you we've been in a bear market ever since somewhere around here. I've told you we're in a bear market, folks. Because to me, a bear market is defined by being below the 200 moving average on the daily for more than 10 or 20 days and seeing that there's likely lower highs too. Like, once this was a lower high, it wasn't, it didn't look like we were going to get divergence here and just break out. This was a little different. This was like the verge of what could have been. Both of these were were interesting. And that's why you almost wondered, is this one of those? But this was a deeper retracement, you can see, and then a bear flag continuation pattern. Double top in there in a way too, if you look at it. And you can still see, we're going to get into all this, but it's still, Anyway, so, and the retracement is the 786, which is 39,652 here. And you got to, let me see if I can be like, just want to be like on the button there. Yeah, right there makes sense. 618 could stop at 54. Then you got the 48,000 going, and then right here, you got 39. And you never know, you could wick into here. I'm not saying we're going to 30K, but I'm saying if there was a bottom, if it was a half, like something crazy, and it was a horrible bottom, the idea was we would be somewhere down there, right? At 30, between 35, I'd say 38 and 40K, somewhere in there. So, like, I'd have orders down there just in case, a couple grand, 5 grand, 10 grand orders down there. You never know. We might wick there. It could be something crazy. The weekly also looks, if I had to tell you, like it's just going to make another bear flag over time. It was looking, the 2-week chart. Still doesn't look amazing. But the weekly too, same idea. Just looking like we're going to make a bear flag over time. Reconnect to the 21. 21 will come like here. Doesn't have to hit it. As you can see, the weekly can just get kind of like right there. And then we just have our next move down. I don't know. I'm just I'm just a simple guy. I just go with what I see. You see what I mean? And there's 39K too as well, like uncannily 40K. You know what I mean? It lines up pretty spot on there. Actually, if I bring it all the way to the wick, I believe it hits like 38,000. Yeah, 36 even, like 37, 30. Yeah, but so it just, and again, I get exact with it by support of resistance levels. The level I believe will be right there. 45, and then you drop down. Wow, man, doesn't look amazing, I'll tell you that. And so, look, we have this chunk of resistance. That shit's, you think would act as support for Bitcoin. But we had it here, and it did act as support, but it just made all it did, because the support was so good, it made people buy. Buy the dip. Get banged on, right? But that's why it's okay. You have when I'm buying Bitcoin here, and here. And when I bought Bitcoin on this massive wick down, because I've already bought, basically what I think was a good amount of Bitcoin, sub 65, 64, 62,000. I bought it, they gave us a good amount of time there to get into the low 60s. Now we've come up, so in my mind, if it goes to 38,000, even 30K, right now, like from where it's at, it's in the low, it's only a 50% retracement. And so my whole life, a 50% retracement's been easy, especially for Bitcoin, because I know I can hold it for 10 years. I plan on it. That's the idea, at least. You know what I mean? Maybe at that point I'll borrow off it once it's so far away from its real mean. I'll borrow off it, Sorry, my finger slipped there. But the idea is to just, silently stack and look for, not look for a gain right now. Don't be greedy for me. You know what I mean? Don't look for gains right now. Just be consistent, be disciplined, and stack BTC at the low levels. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I'm saying should be taken as financial advice. As you can see, if you ever were joining my group or hung out or took a one-on-one, I'm a teacher, you're a student. I'd never go over your portfolio for you for any reason. I'm just not really into that too. It's not my passion. My passion is to teach you the technical analysis and how to trade, right? So we're looking for this. To me, you have to just assume right now, maybe we get a green candle. Boom. And you'll see me next week long. You'll be like, there's the guy that said we're in a bear flag and he just made 5-6 grand on a pump to the upside. You know what I mean? Because if we cross the 4-hour 200 or the 1-hour 200 and we start making a flag, I'm going to get in. So I'm going to see it because I only take a couple hours off of Bitcoin a day. That's why if Bitcoin changes and I flip, it's not because I flipped, it's because the price flipped, And not saying I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I am, I'm not saying I'm perfect, But you know what I'm saying? It just, you do it day by day, stay inside the process and just, hopefully you get some high probabilities for yourself in life and anything you're doing. If it's trading, if it's whatever it is, it could be sales. It doesn't matter what position you hold. You get the neurochemicals flowing, you make the connections in the brain, you start flipping, you start going hard. You start dreaming about your next move. You start dreaming about your next sale. You start dreaming about your, you start eating right. You start going to the, working out. You start looking good, feeling good. People want to be around you. You know what I mean? This is what happens when you're in the flow state. You just know because you're doing all the right things. If you have a family, you're taking care of them. If you have kids, you're spending time with them. If you have a wife, you're taking her out to dinner. You have a good time. You're making sure there's a good relationship. You're spending quality time with her at home. You're hitting all the buttons, man. Honestly, not a lot of time for socializing if you have a full-time business and a full-time family. There's not a lot of time to go hang out with the boys, sorry to say, or, it'll come up here and there. You'll make time for people that matter. If there's someone in your life that you think is worth it, you'll make time for them. But for the most part, man, if you're hungry like me and you love business, you just want to keep grinding. Get that next meeting, get that next, network to the next thing and find out who you can meet, find out what's going on, be part of something bigger than yourself and grind, man. It's so fun. Nothing better than being your own man. So 12-hour time frame, attempting to dig in, but looking bearish, right? Let me spend some time on the daily right now. So the daily has had me definitely twisted a couple times now. It's like back and forth, right? As far as I'm concerned. At the end of the day, it looks like a descending triangle. that like broke out. Everything was looking great. We had kind of, you know what I mean? It was a chance that was a double bottom or whatever, you know. This one was a double bottom. We started to pump. Nope. Came down with the crash. Took everybody out. Right? Snatched the move back to the upside. I had a trade there that hit beautifully on the, but I was trading the 5-minute time frame, but it hit a majority of that move on a massive pump. And then comes back down and crack. You know, looks like another green candle is going to open. It seems like it's broken out. Everything seems great. Then this candle hovers green, looks good too with a continuation. Everything seems, you know, and then bang, bang, right? We're hit with these two red nasty dumps again. We did lose the 200 moving average on the 15-minute, which was my I kept telling everyone that's probably, you know, if we do that and then we'll lose it on the 1 hour, we're likely going to get, you know, bang to the downside. And that's exactly what we saw. The moving averages are just kind of such beautiful tells. Can be tight because you have to be on them, but they're beautiful tells. Now, is this a divergence for Bitcoin? You know, this is like moving up and this is moving up. It's a bit odd, but this is moving down and this is moving up. I mean, that to me is a bit of a divergence, but I've never seen it with you know, and you know, usually you have to take the low to the low. So this is a new thing for me. This whole like dump to the side and then this like sideways, you know. Anything, let me flip it upside down. Usually it makes more sense when I'm upside down. Yeah, see, upside down, I can kind of see it clearly. It looks exactly like it should, right? And I mean, that thing may just want to continue to the upside. Wow, look at that. It's 38K2 again. I don't know why I keep getting it, just like nonstop. Remember, show you the charts and I'll show you the news. If there's something crazy going down, it's suggesting that, you know, by March 13th. Who knows? But like, so that looks good to me if I was going to long. Looks like a bull pennant on a long. You know, it doesn't look the same upside down as it does right side up. So I started going upside down with the chart because it was the only way I could see it the way I think I should see it. Now, does that mean we should definitely short the market? I mean, the daily came back up on the stochastics. I'll be honest, man, this could be a shoulder, head, right shoulder. I keep seeing how it could go both ways. And any second now, they could boost it and drop it. You have to assume we're in a bear flag and it's going to go lower, right? So the smart thing to do is to forget about what ifs and say, okay, well, the short is probably the right idea right now. All right? Maybe you don't go to 44. Maybe you sell somewhere down here. But, you know, to me, but like I'm just like, I haven't been shorting as much. I've been like kind of taking these longs throughout the move down. Huh. To me, I mean, that looks likely, right? It looks like the daily is just going to continue to roll on you. 22 has a bear div on it and doesn't look good to me. 12 hours bearish so far, overbought too as well on the stochastics. The 4 hour was like the one time frame that was like, to me, looked like it could, you know, at least kind of stay inside of a pattern here, catch the 21 and possibly get a pump. Even this morning, I was saying in my update, I said, that looks like it could be a cup and handle. A pump to the 200 moving average. I've been expecting it here, because when these moving averages get tight, you get a pump to the 2. I've seen it many times, but we never did get that. Definitely suppression here. Ends up looking like more of a Bart Simpson, right? That got rejected by the trend line. However you want to look at it, right? Could it still be making like this insane, like something like this? It's possible. Let's take a look if there's any indication of hope here for a move. So now what happens is it's just like when we see a pump for Bitcoin, right? It's a beautiful pump, but we always know that it's going to take some time for the 21 to catch up the price. So for me, like, there's a chance we could short the flag later on today. It's kind of the same exact thing I do the other way, right? But we flip it upside down. If Bitcoin gets back above the 200, there's a chance that 4 hour is going to maybe do something and it turns into a wick. But right now, it doesn't look like the case. Right? This kind of, what is a descending triangle, the 333 time frame, funny. But, you know, so that even looks bear flag-esque on the 30. Let's look at the 15. Yeah, just this. Interesting. 1 minute's been battling the 200 moving average. Keeps kind of looking. Look, there's the model. I looked at it today. I took it. We were up. Came back down. I got out. No love, you know. Since then, I just gave up and said it's a Friday. I'm not going to chase price action on low volume. I'm just going to be chill. Mondays and Fridays, man, will tear you apart. They'll look good. They'll make it look like the rest of the week, but it just won't work out the same way. Too many people have made their money. Too many people have lost their money throughout the week, right? So I'm looking for sideways price action or even just a move further down, really, not too long from now. Like, just looks more bearish than bullish to me for Bitcoin, in my humble opinion, at the present moment in time. I gave it a lot of grace for a possible reversal. I looked at all the possible ideas. It kind of really stuck to them. It just doesn't look like we're going to get those moves. You know, we need a green next to a red. We need a reversal candle here. I don't see it just, you know, I don't see it happening right now. So, I don't know. You tell me. Are you bullish or bearish in the chat? Let me pop out the chat and see what people are saying and what's going down. Shout out to everybody here. Shout out to all my lifers. Thank you for jumping on in. Thank you for being amazing. Kicking butt and just always coming through for the stream, baby. Fridays, not amazing days to trade, not amazing days, but people still show up. I love y'all. Yeah. Yeah, bearish, no volume, bearish, yeah. My man is bullish. Grizzly bear, yeah. Open March does something wonderful. Hey, shout out to my man, Master Frank. God bless you, brother. I'm a bit more bullish. I'm neither unafraid. I like it. Could be a diamond pattern. I go to the doctor's today, everybody, at 1 p.m. to find out if I can get my stitches out, if things went somewhat well. It's going to be, So pray for me. I've prayed for myself. Dear Lord, right now, let's just pray. Dear Lord, I hope I have a, good announcements today at the doctor. I hope everything went well. I did so many, I stayed off with my leg up for 2 weeks now. I haven't been out of the house for 2 weeks. I haven't gotten in a car for 2 weeks. Haven't driven anywhere. And maybe that's what God wanted me to do. Maybe there was something that I missed. Maybe there was some accident. Something would have happened. Who knows, right? You never know how life works out. There was a reason why Lifer had to stay protected in his home for the last 2 weeks. But for whatever reason, I've been, I've been grounded. And so, yeah. And I take that as destiny, man. You look back and you'll see, maybe I'll never know the true reason, but I'll trust in the reason of why my leg was hurt, right? And thank you, dear Lord, for teaching me this lesson. Like, not having my leg has taught me so much, folks. It really has. Like, and everyone's like, oh, man, look at this crybaby. You just got a torn ankle. But I tore my Achilles heel. It happened one day. It happened in a second. I heard a pop. I hit the ground. Like, I'm telling you, the pain is immense. When it happens, you don't know what's going on in your head. It's like, feels like you got shot or hit with a bat or I can't explain it. I really can't explain it unless it happened to you. It's insane. Anyway, so you go through that, which is life-changing, but whatever. I'll leave that alone. Who cares, right? Nobody knows until it happens to you, so you'll all just deny it. No, other people will, though. No, I'm sorry, you guys are on my team, but you know what I mean? People would just hate. So then, next thing you know, you get home, and you think it's like, oh, my buddy says it's a torn calf, you'll be fine in a month, and you're all set. And next thing you know, you're not all set, man. It gets worse. And you find out you can't walk, right? And then it gets worse and worse. So, like, next thing you know, you find out you have to have surgery. Like, next thing you know, you're sitting waiting for surgery. It's just like, it turns in, now you're told you can't walk for 6 weeks after surgery. It's already been 2 weeks. Now you're saying 8 weeks, I won't walk. Like, and whatever. And you start doing the math and seeing where you're at, and it doesn't look good. It starts feeling weird, Next thing you know, and then for a couple days, yeah, you say, why did this happen? But, I'm done. I don't say, why did this happen to me anymore? I say, thank you, dear Lord, for teaching me whatever you're teaching me. I'm so open and submitted to this experience because that's what life has taught me. There has to be something good to come out of this. So there will be. Like, if I find the good out of it, there will be good out of it. I will, you know, as the creator of my reality. So it's almost, you know, and some say that's brainwashed and some say it is. And I say maybe, and I wouldn't disagree. But, you know, you're always being brainwashed by someone or something all the time. And I'd rather be brainwashed by my own guruing and, you know, than somebody else's. And I've now trained my brain to be you know, for my neuroplasticity to find myself. And that's what I want to teach you, if you and to have you see you're doing the same thing. That's why you come to the stream. A lot of you are people that channel the subconscious. You understand, you know, when I first understood when I couldn't trade or I had problems and my life was just, you know, I couldn't put money together. I couldn't find a way to get out of the 9 to 5. I looked like I was going to be stuck there for the rest of my life. No matter what I did, however I tried, some side businesses here and there, and, you know, and again, the word tried, like I didn't really do anything fully. I believed I was doing them fully, but I never fully committed. You know, once I really fully committed to God, I understood what fully committing was. It's almost like that let me fully commit to business too. Because once you fully commit to God, right, it takes the fear away. It takes the fear away in business, streaming, anything that you think could go down, you tell yourself, but why could it go down? Like, I've got God by my side and it's always going to go well. And so then your brain says it will go well. Then you find solutions to problems. You don't turn problems into problems. You turn problems into ideas and ways to find solutions. Problems become these creative ideas and fun, you know, creative obstacles that are fun. I always go back to the day I went out to Las Vegas, you know, to do some business. And I ended up having to also stream. So I streamed from my hotel and the internet was muck because they don't really, you know, no one's in their hotels in Vegas. They're all gambling and they go to fall asleep. So like, the internet really, the stream kept going in and out, and I got like 8 minutes in, or maybe even less, and it was in and out, and I was like, man. And I got a call from someone saying, hey, go, if you know my people at Sin City Crypto, I didn't know them yet, really. We hadn't met. I didn't even know about their YouTube channel. And check them out, Sin City Crypto, if you want to have a cool idea later on today. They go on Pacific time, I believe at 1 o'clock, 1:30. They're a really cool channel, Rob and Dave, cool guys. Fun idea, too. They have a beautiful studio, beautiful stream. Anyway, so I go out there and hang out with them and they end up letting me stream in the studio. We put it together and it's just an amazing experience, you know, and they end up being my buddies and, yeah, I love and respect them. They're great guys. And so it ended up turning into, so it was a really, you know, at one point it turned out, man, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I don't know any, I'm in the middle of Vegas. I don't really know anyone. I guess I could do something. I could have went to Internet Cafe with a camera. So you never know. I'm sure I would have found some type of solution for better internet, but at the time, you know, I guess Starlink too, right out the Starlink out the hotel window next time, right? Anyway, the point of the story is, you know, and everyone's like, oh, boo-hoo, it was just the stream, but, you know, not having the stream was freaking me out. You know, they hooked it up, so. Want to see if the 1 hour time frame can grab a bottom here. It's really trying to hug out. See this here, like this previous support and resistance right here, 65.8, and it just keeps kind of trying to dig. It's attempting to dig in here, possibly get a bounce back to the upside, make this bigger channel. What you're looking for now is like what I was saying, is just for it to kind of form a bear flag on the 1 hour and then continue lower. Pretty far for the 21-day moving average. Looks like it may have to take its time. You see what I mean? So with that being said, like, meaning like it's not, I don't think it's just, by the book of how I trade, it's likely not going to continue to dump because it's just, it already dumped really far for the 21. So if you're a bull, you know, you may try to long this like a legend with a stop below the wick. I think it's great. I think it's a little much, but it could happen. You know, the 4 hours really the time frame I would look now. What I've learned now is when the volume gets lighter, that I have to trade bigger time frames. When the volume is amazing, I can get down. So when there's a lot of people in the market's ripping, it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, and things are going our way, I could trade the 1 minute, the 3 minute, the 7, the 5, the 50, right? You know what I mean? I could get busy because there's a lot of orders, there's a lot of people making orders, there's a lot of water to swim in, right? But say this is like like having no water to swim in, and there's bears trying to scoop you out of the water. Here, the water's deep, and the bears get a few people, but they don't get everybody. Bear. That's my idea, like salmon to bear ratio or something. But here's like the water's so light on the weekend, Friday afternoon. So once you get, so then you start trading the 4-hour, the 8-hour time frame. Doesn't mean it's going to work out, but it starts making, for me, that makes more sense. So like I wouldn't long until the 4-hour can close a green candle next to a red one. And I would just be waiting for the 15, the 1 hour to kind of turn this into a bit of a bear flag. And then I'd always be watching like the 15 and the 5, or the 1 and the 5. The 1 gets a nice move above the 200. Funny, if you look at it now, the 1 minute is in what I call a symmetrical triangle, right? Which tells me that, it's a move looks like it's going to be happening pretty soon, up or down. The way it's curving above the 200 looks like we might get a short squeeze. Just, might be quick back to 66, 250. But, technically, it could go either way. It's a 50-50 shot here. All right, but that's what you see that, again, everything is anything. And what does that mean? Well, this is the same pattern you would see on the weekly. Exactly the same pattern you would see on the weekly as you could see on the daily, the 15-minute, the 1 hour. You get it? I've seen all these same patterns over time. Kind of a shoulder, head, shoulder in there. It's getting tight. Looks interesting. You know what I mean? I like that it's back above the 200 moving average. You see? And that technically is the model. You've got consolidation. You're touching the 21 above the 200. And there you go. Look at it. Hi-ho silver away, right? You knew a move was coming. That's what I love, TA. A move wasn't coming right here, not there, but definitely, you could tell with 90% accuracy, something was about to happen because Bitcoin was just too tight. You see what I mean? Remember, I said there could be a short squeeze up to 66, 250. I said nothing too crazy, right? And this is fun, too, to kind of look and see if you can catch the pattern, right? There's a bit of a double bottom in there. No true bull div. Slight bull div there because that's a sharp down and that's not. So it's class C bullish divergence. Bullish divergence is usually a downtrend on the RSI, a downtrend on price, uptrend on the RSI. But sometimes it's a downtrend on the RSI, a downtrend on price. But look, like the RSI is more steep and will intersect. Downtrend on price, downtrend on the RSI, but you'll intersect the RSI. Like if you keep this moving, this trajectory, right? And this one, you'll see they'll probably hit somewhere over here. The point of the story is divergence is if the lines will divide each other or not. That's what people, I don't think, understand fully. Yeah. Funny, there's the 5 second touching the 21 above the 200, right? And you'd be like, why are you in the 5 second now? Well, it seems that they're dragging price so intricately that it's I'm using the smaller time frame to basically to catch detail, right? We know again there's the 21 above the 200 consolidation. This thing should make a move. Am I going to trade the 5 second or the 1 second with y'all today? That would be a nice 1 second trade right there. It's giving me time to get in too, which is crazy. Hypothetically, what if we attempted to trade the 1 second here? Attempting to get out at 66,372. This would be the model. On a Friday, probably a 50-50 shot they stop hunt us, right? Let's see, man, if it can hang. I wish I made the actual trade because I had time to get in. The 1 second usually doesn't move that slow. There it is attempting a bit of a breakout. Oh, let's actually zoom in and see these candles in real time. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's bugged out, right? Like when you think about how it marches in. Because it's almost like slow-mo in a way, right? If you think about it. So Stop Hunt Magoo, right? Friday. So it's kind of like every Friday, it seems like it's almost like they're running an algorithm that eats itself. Like it knows what it's going to do or something. Something funny, right? Or just, patterns, that is an ascending, and they break down 68% of the time. So you'd have to say, oh, well, right? Would have been fun. It was are we really on the 1 second? Yeah, we turned into the 1 second. Look, it's funny though. You could have see how we saw that dip like way more. Now the 30-second looks like the daily. So interesting when you do this. It really kind of changes your perspective, right? Like this should blow your mind, and this is really what changed my way of thinking when it came to trading. This is why I got excited. I said, man, there's these worlds inside of worlds. And if I get so deep in these worlds, like no one will know how deep I am. They don't have to even find me in there. As long as I know I'm in there. As crazy as that sounds, right? But it's the truth. Like when I got deep in these worlds, you think my wife she wasn't in the 1 minute and the 5, I try to explain these things, but like she doesn't want to hear that at dinner. You know what I'm saying? If she wanted to trade, she would have started trading years ago. You know what I mean? It's not her thing. And I'm not saying she's into crypto. She loves the idea. She likes, but I'm just going over that. So the idea is, you get so deep that you're in your own mind for a long time. Trading can kind of make you feel like that isolated, computer nerd in a way, because you're just in that zone that nobody else is in. You're just, and there's no one to connect to. And that's why I'm here. And I could show you, I was that nerd. I was so deep in there, and look what happened. So just find something you're passionate about that, not always just passion. Find something that makes sense, that you believe you could accomplish and get it done. And then you can also throw in some passions on the side. Sometimes they go together. Sometimes what you're good at, becomes your strength. So here's the model again. We're back above the 200 moving average. We're back showing signs of a pump. See, so like the day could look so bearish, and I could be like, oh man, it looks horrible. This looks this and that. And then I could say I'm long in the 1 minute, and then be like, this guy I don't understand, because I have a model that I trade, and the model really tells me what to do no matter no matter really what. Hey Sam, I'm still investing, healthy, fit, master's graduate. No kids at 33, working in education. I fell behind at times. What would you do? Hey Sam, I'm still investing, healthy, fit, master's graduate. Well, I'm not an investment advisor, so I don't know exactly what you're asking me. But, I'll tell you my story of my life and what I did, because I started, literally, I'm not going to lie to everybody, the true story, right? My dad had maybe, my dad was old. He didn't have tons of savings. He never told me what he had. I never, had access to any of this information. If I even asked my father for money, he would have just bugged out on me. So I never asked my dad for money because I knew I wasn't going to be good. I'd enjoyed my time with my dad. And if I asked him for money, it would have ruined our relationship. He wanted me to go out and make my own money, find my own way, and, and learn life. And he kind of made that clear without it. He never really even said, don't ask me for money, but it was kind of clear that I wasn't going to ask my father for money. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, point of the story is I started with my first job making I think $475 a week. It was, barely anything. Look, so that looks like it could give you a pump here. I mean, that's 21 touch of the see, and that's why you go and look at these smaller time frames. It could wreck some shorts right now. See, look, everything's a pump and dump lately, though, every time. So, this is the greatest story ever, but everyone wants to know, how do you become how do you take a small job how do you go from where I'm at? I was literally making $475 a week at one of my first jobs ever. How do you go from there to millions of dollars? Now, I was 24 years old. I'm now 40. I'll be 43 in about a month. Oh, right? So, yeah, it's been dang near 19 years, right? And when I was 22, 23, I decided I was going to invest. I looked up stocks and, I knew a little bit about the stock market. Not much, but I knew something, right? And enough to know how to buy and sell. And then eventually in my late, into my 20s, I would buy and sell stocks. By 28 years old, I would start looking at technical analysis, right? So I've been dabbling with TA now for dang near, that would be 14 years. You know what I mean? Maybe even like 15. And then I've been trading, since my first trade, it's been about 20 years, right? So how did I do it? Like, this is the one thing that I think that everybody, like, how do you do it? There's trading, but like, how did you even get enough money to trade? How did you figure out how to trade in the money? How did you get the money and figure out how to trade? How did you learn how to trade when you were at work? How did, everyone, what did you do when you were making money trading? And then, what happened when you took a loss trading, but you didn't work anymore? How did you deal with the mental ups and downs, And honestly, these are great questions. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear the exact answer, because to me, it's simple. It's God. Like, I submitted to God, and like a lot of these issues were taken care of that I had before. I know it doesn't sound, and it sounds so unrealistic. It sounds like, a fairy tale, right? But I'm just telling you the truth. I wish there was a different story so it could be more relatable to someone that doesn't believe in God, right? Because then they'd be like, okay, that makes sense. And I'd say, you know what? Then to that person, I'd say, well, it's a placebo that made me believe anything was possible. And I stopped having doubt. And then it made me logically realize there was no fear. Like, fear didn't exist logically. I'm a logical guy. All right, if I'm attached to a higher frequency bigger than myself that I can know that resides inside me, helps me, you know what I mean? I can connect to on a major level and gets me through some of the hardest times of my life, which I have gone through. I am convinced that there is something bigger and something better. And if there's something bigger and something better, then I'm not afraid of this world as I was before. And if I'm not afraid of this world as I was before, then I'm uncontained. You see what I mean? I'm not to be contained by ideas, by what everyone else is thinking, by where, you know what I mean? And my reality can be shaped by me and me alone. And then I can go after that reality in which I create, right? So like, you could be in a cubicle and work at a cubicle, or you could start, your own business and start it on the side and then make it happen until it gets big enough that you can do it on your own, right? So while we're watching Bitcoin fumble around in the 1 minute, now it looks like a head and shoulder. It's up, and every pump is a dump, as I said recently. Every single pump is a dump. Nice little move, at least if you were scalping, I guess. But dang, every pump is a dump, it seems. Now a head and shoulder pattern, possibly. You would extend this into possibly more, maybe more consolidation now. But definitely another fake out, right? Every move seems to be a fake move. Very interesting. So I usually don't trade Fridays. I think they're not the best days to trade. I wish they were. Okay. So how do you transition? This is the biggest deal here. How do you transition from the job? And so this is what I did. Okay. I started reading books on investment and people who had made money, and billionaires and multimillionaires. And I found some of them made their money way later in life. Like, one guy was a billionaire, and he was like an optometrist or something. And then he developed something for the eye. Then he made some patent, and next thing you know, he sold that, and then he was able to sell it. And then he used that, and then he bought Apple shares when he was worth maybe 200 mil. And I think he bought 150 mil of Apple shares. And this is in the 90s or something, right? And maybe even the early 2000s, and boom. That thing quadrupled or more, 5x or something, and he became a billionaire. And it was this story of how he became and I was and I researched more and more billionaires and found them. Some of them, made it at 48, 47, 54, 56, 65. And it wasn't, you know what I mean? But it's all about, if you believe you're of that ability to become a billionaire, you'll become one. Someone said, the million's so hard. Everyone says the first million's so hard. You know what I mean? And I remember, this is the funniest thing every day, but I watched this video and the guy's like, the first million's the hardest, right? That's what everybody says, right? And so why not start at the second million? Everyone wants to become a millionaire, right? But a lot of people, if you really ask them, do you want to become a billionaire? They just say no. It's just it seems So it's probably easier to become a billionaire than a millionaire. I know it seems funny, right? But then logically it actually seems true because there's less competition in becoming a billionaire, right? Everyone wants to become a millionaire. So there's competition becoming a millionaire. But once you hit like 50 mil, 100 mil, a lot of people stop. They just don't feel like there's nothing, like they've got everything they need. They don't see, they're like, they just say the why of why would I work any harder? Like I'm already worth 100 mil, 200 mil. I go to all the nicest restaurants. I fly on private jets. I have whatever. I'm not saying this is me. I'm going over what this person said, They've got it all. Like what the heck do they want? You know what I mean? Some people are just more, I'm more into the chessboard and the business. That looks like a head and shoulder that's going to take us down now. Faked it up. Now they break it down. Nice dump in there to the liquidity zone, possibly. Who knows, man? It's like, it's constant chop city here. It is above the 200. Oh, even the 5 minute, yeah. It's got a ways to go here. Sorry, we were on that small time frame. It gets like chop suey over there. See, kind of same idea that we just looked at on the one, you know what I mean? Kind of a similar story here. And, sometimes I'll see something on the one and it'll like project what happens later on. And I'm always wondering, like, if maybe like a whale can like control the market on the small time. This is a crazy idea I have, right? But they control the market on a small time frame and they imprint a message and then like they basically tell you they tell each other what they're going to do on a bigger time frame too, But see, like, look at this, man. End of the day, it's basically a bear flag, right? Like 66 is digging in right here, though. You'll see, you've got this level here. And you've wicked into it there. You've kind of had resistance, so a little bit of supportive resistance holding today at 66,000. Can it hold is the question. Can the 4-hour finally close a green candle next to a red one, It did it here, but to no avail. And it made a nice little sideways flag, but those wicks were crazy. Look at all the wicks, man. I even said to everyone in my group, I was like, that's just some really insane price action on the 4-hour time frame. Like, what do you do with that nonsense? And then the nasty dump to the downside. Nice short, though. Not going to hate. Beautiful short. Kind of made a bit of a descender if you look at it in a way, right? It didn't look extremely bullish. It was like hanging by a thread. Like, it was like maybe we'll get a squeeze, Bear flag looking like a drop to 64K. That's what my man says. What else are people saying? Catch my replay. Love y'all. Yeah, best flag. Love the story and the openness, but can you explain what submit to God means and looks like? And how many people? A lot of people give that answer, but can't be vague. Yeah, what submitting to God means is this: you wake up in the morning, all right, and I'm trying to think of the old me. It really is. There's two ways of looking at it. All right, two beautiful ways of looking at it. All right, and for me, this is just how it works. So, God's always there. God's always looking. God's always helping. Right? God is doing great things for me at all times. Period. Right? There's no question. Once you submit, there's no question to that. Okay? So it's more really about belief. Like it's about having blind faith without question. Because like back in my day, something bad would happen to me and I'd be convinced that this is so unlucky. And I'd say, can you believe that happened to me? I mean, why me? Right? It goes back to Ed Milet. I was listening to him one day on the train station on my way to work. I was about 26 years old, I think, 27. I was always in a job I knew I didn't love. I wasn't running my own business. I knew I was my own businessman. I just knew who I was supposed to be. Supposed to be suited up, pocket squared up, ready to go. You know what I mean? Wearing what I want to wear, doing what I desire to do with my life, helping people. using my voice, talking like I had this internal vision of who I should be, and I was like working night shifts behind the scenes, and it was okay. And then I'd also work for famous people in the industry that had their own show, doing their own thing, and I said, man, but I didn't want to become someone's little like whip toy either, you know what I mean? And how you hear about what happens in these industries. So I was weary of certain things. Very independent, but also felt lost at many times in my life, right? So I'm looking for this 4-hour candle to close green here. I wouldn't be surprised if it finally does. We're gonna have to wait some time. It just opened. You know, there's a chance this thing just rips right. Every pump's been a dump, every dump's been a pump, like, you know, and this just kind of starts to get tight inside of this tight channel here. I think we may have found the next move for the next 16 hours. Confirmed by this next 4 hours. So in the next 4 hours, we'll get the confirmation if we can get this move to the upside. Okay. Very important. So I was on the train station, you know, and I was walking into the train. I was going, it was back when, like, you know, Instagram really just came out. Not just came out, but people were really using it differently. Let me say, was it, maybe I was 33. I'm trying to think how old I was. How old is Instagram? 10 years old or something like that? 12 years old, maybe? Anyway, because I don't want to, like, get it misinterpreted by time and space here, because I don't. Point of the story is, I was getting on the train. Wasn't where my life wanted to be. And I used to just, you know, without knowing it, I complained a lot. More, you know, without realizing it, too. It kind of was a go-to in my mind. I didn't catch myself whining, you know, and then I'd be optimistic for a few days, so in my mind, I was optimistic, but I was only optimistic maybe 40% of the time. Even though it felt like I was always optimistic, I basically didn't really know who I was. I thought I was someone I wasn't because my subconscious mind had been hijacked. I hadn't worked on my subconscious mind. I had been given whatever the world had been putting in it. You see what I mean? Once in the flow state, you control the subconscious mind. I go to bed listening to the videos of things I want to become. Positive affirmations of where I want to be. I wake up the next morning with my brain trained to become who the person I am, right? It's like, I understand that I need to train my subconscious mind. They're trying to train everybody's brain to do their bidding every day out there on these streets. You can't be on social media all day long. You can't be sucking in the news all day long. You can't be watching what they want you to watch all day long. You know, I got rid of Apple News years ago. That stuff is like, it seemed just like complete trash to me. Anyway, the point of the story is, that's why you go into nature. Nature does not have a text message to give you. It has a message to give you, but it's not an electronic, you know. Nature will actually cleanse you of electromagnetic frequencies. Walking on the beach with your feet out will cleanse you. So I got on this train, back on the story, and it was just about something simple, and I hit a video, and it was Ed Millett, and he said, you know, I was supposed to be a famous baseball player or become big at baseball. I think I had a scholarship. Things are going my way. And I may get the story somewhat off, but to paraphrase, he hurt his knee, couldn't get into baseball. It was a severe knee injury with surgery, all that, right? Kind of like what I'm going through now, but something different. And it held him back. He couldn't get back, you know, it would always be kind of, you know, and he said, why did this happen to me, you know? And I think he met someone and he said, you know, God has a plan for everybody. And you need to start thinking deep of what it is right now, because if you don't, like, you're going to miss this opportunity too. And he said, why did this happen for me, right? So he started switching every time he said, why did, in that hit, one day it hit me, because I was like, wow, a lot of times I say, why did this happen to me? And I noticed that I said it a lot. Like, that video pointed out to me, and I said, man, I do this a lot more than I think I should. And I said, if I can just change, and he said, if you could just start changing that one word, it's one word. It's the same, it's a very same phrase with one word difference. Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen for me? And honestly, because it was a word change and it was such a tweak, it got in my head and it tweaked my brain. And maybe it's going to tweak someone's brain today, because it got me it really hit me. And the music stops right now, I think for a real reason. Like, I didn't stop it. It's just the end of a run. And, but the thing about this is, it's like, you know, you lose a trade, you got liquidated. Why did this happen to me? Everyone I know won last week. I lost money. Sam made money on that trade in that morning, and I keep getting liquidated. Why did this happen to me? You know, why did this happen for you? Like, what are you getting? There's, you know, and it also goes back to there's no failure, only feedback, right?
This builds a high frequency mind. This goes back to being at the Sahara when I had no Wi-Fi, but finding out the obstacle turned into the greatest connection I had, one of the best connections I had ever made. And you know, so it keeps extending itself every time you extend it. The higher your frequency, the higher your frequency can go. Right? The more intense you make it, this journey, this internal journey of your mind to find out who you are through and to rebuild your subconscious mind to where you desire to be going. You should be on your journey, right? We set up here, everyone here for 100,000 subscribers. We got to 100,000 subscribers by the glory of, of my, you guys showing up, of me showing up, and of God giving me the ability to never stop no matter what kind of came into my life. Always making sure that this channel was the number one thing in my life, but my kids, God, and this channel, right? But making sure this channel was one of the biggest things in my life that I never negated. Right? And as we sit here and yap, I know it's boring. Bitcoin is dumping. Could we get a short cooking? It does look like, that's a short to me. Right? If you look at it, it's a head and shoulder pattern. Kind of looks like a descender, shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder. Ugliness. It kind of say, is it rounding a bottom for a possible entry? Yeah. There's a higher low sticking out pot. You could see it. It's also flattening a top though. That's why, again, I would, right now I'm bearish and then, give it 4 hours, come back, see if you're probably going to be dumping, right? Let's take a look at Bookmap and see what Bookmap is showing us on the heat map order book. Bookmap's a heat map order book. Heat map meaning it's going to show you the dark red, just like infrared goggles where the most people are sitting. So it says there's a good amount of shorts up at 70,000. 69.5, there's a good amount of, there's some liquidity up there. And there's some good liquidity down at 58K too, though. And then if you kind of zoom out, you can see it too there. Like, does suggest there's some, it's interesting though. I didn't think I'd see that much up there. Could go either way. Sometimes you'll just see like a massive red up here and we're likely going to go up there. To me, it's still kind of, any man's game for this liquidity. It says, it's leaning a little bit higher to 69, 650. A little higher. But if I was looking at just the candle bodies and the patterns, this looks like a shoulder, head, shoulder, 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 head, shoulder, shoulder. See how it's a complex head and shoulder? And it just doesn't look amazing, kind of falling off into a descending triangle. I'm not willing to long any of this right now. I'm just not into it. Yeah, we made good trades this week, and I'm not going to go into a low volume Friday and flip and flop and grope myself when I don't think there's any reason to do that. Yeah, there you go. I believe I've been more disciplined this year than last year. Trade less, make more is the idea. Look how tight that is. Like, that just looks like a shoulder that wants to, that shoulder, head, shoulder. Look, that was a shoulder and a head. Look, that did head and shoulder. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, see? Bang. It goes, it's crazy how it like just goes straight down. Like, because some bot or something sees the same thing I see. They identify the head and shoulder. They dump the price just kind of collapses. So if I had to put tell you exactly what I see happening here, it looks bearish to me, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if on low volume, even if we go down a little bit, come up, down, it's like it drags down or it comes up and goes down, it tends to drag on a Friday, right? They got a nice dump there, but still, that's the smaller time frame, right? Yeah, so back to the submitting to God really quick. So when you submit to God, you believe that every single reason that something's happening to you is a good reason. You're convinced of it. Like, there's no other way to it. And you realize it's a philosophy almost more than anything. And even as I say it, it sounds like, wow, you're really just convincing yourself. But once you're in it, you're so deep in it that even as I say it out loud right now, like, I don't believe it's a thing. I believe it is reality, right? Because that's all I'm doing. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So now, okay, boom. So now, let's just say someone gets fired from a job, all right? And the person that doesn't believe in God says, man, my boss sucked. I never should have been there. Why did it happen to me? Everyone else was doing, I thought I did my part. I only made 1 or 2 mistakes. They could have said something. They never even called me aside, just fired me out of nowhere, all this, whatever, But most, 90% of the time, every once in a while, there's a conspiracy. And I get it. You might have seen something you shouldn't, or who knows. But I'm not saying there isn't. But, I'd say 90% of the time, when you get fired, it's your fault. Like, there's something that you're doing or that you did, right? Let's just be honest. Like, no one, even employers, like, we'd love to hire somebody and have them in position and not have to get rid of them. That's the employer's dream. Nobody wants to have to fire someone. So once they have to fire someone, it's already a pain because now they got to find someone to replace. It's just like, oh, man. Look, a little double bottom there. Can you get the action? Anyways, I'm just, I'm expecting just sideways price action for the afternoon, really. Nothing crazy. So then the other, again, boom. Now the other person believes in God, gets fired and says, maybe I did something, but you know what? It also wasn't a good fit. I might have done it because maybe I didn't even want to be there in the first place. When I finally said that thing in the kitchen, I knew I shouldn't have said it. Sometimes it takes one thing. You make one comment at the wrong time in front of someone that knows the boss, and next thing you know, it leads to this, and then, you know what I mean? It can be simple, man. It doesn't have to be a lot. And next thing you know, like, you could be someone that's not, a team thinks is gonna, not move with the team, and they got to remove you. Like, it's just like, anyway, what am I talking about? So I'm just going, so the person that believes in God kind of looks at it differently, though. Realizes that it probably was more of their fault than needed. And, learns a lot from it. The person that doesn't believe in God blames everything else but themselves. And someone say, fine, well, I don't have to believe in God. I just need to blame myself. Yes, but usually it's like, it's amazing to think, well, there's a being behind that, and they want you to find something different with your life. So there's one great, so submission means to what I really believe submission means is to find the good in everything. And realize that everything that's happening to you is for a good reason. Right? Yeah, no matter how bad it really seems or how horrible it may look. There's something behind it that you can't see, and God is working through you and through the situation. And that to me that's the beauty of it, right? Again, I'm done. I don't want to make this Preacher Fridays, feature Preacher Fridays, but that's someone asked a question, I'm just answering it. Okay. And again, the trade of the week and the trade that I've been focused on and the trade that I've been talking about a lot is gold, baby, gold. Right? And gold is sending back to, and look at that beautiful flag on the 1 minute. Gold doing what it's supposed to do. Right? Making a flag 21 above the 200 and getting the pump. The Pumpalowski. And gold also in this little flag doing damage, which we talked about. It looked like it was going to break out. I said, hey, there's your next entry. We've been in the trade since here now. We were flying. Trade's going very well for gold, right? And that's on BTCC. I got a gold trade still open too. It's been open for a long time, including fees, and it's been hanging out. So we look to make a good amount of money on that trade. Nice to see gold about to break that high too and really send. And look, it's above this high volume node, which tells me it's going up to 5,500. There's the target that I'm looking for, 54,498, to sneak in there and take my trade down. That's going to be a beautiful trade. That's going to pay for that's just going to be great. It's going to be great. Profits of over, I believe, 11 to 12,000 if we hit that target. So I'll take it all day long. It'll be wonderful. It'll be great, man. It'll be great. Gold is my longest trade of the year, baby. Hey. Yeah. Yeah, so basically, yeah. Every situation that's been given, every time you possess an opportunity, it's a blessing. And then you're also grateful for everything in your life. Like, today I'm so grateful for this live stream. I sit here with my foot up. I'm so grateful I get to go to the doctor later on today. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, You know, I've sat in my house, alone many days today because my family had to go places. The kids wanted to go to the museum. People wanted to go to the beach. We had guests that wanted to see things. And my wife took them out and took them places, and I sat home alone. Probably 4 days I was home alone for hours. No worries. I'm not complaining. I'm not. I loved it in a way. It was nice to be alone. It was, when there's always kids and always people, it was nice to have quiet, nice to have peace. I've had peace. I've been in pain. My foot has been uncomfortable. It's set in a position. Think about it. They cut it open, ripped through my muscles and all this tendons and stuff, put it together, put it back, and then kept it in a position that I've been unable to move for 2 weeks, I don't even know what's going on over there, right? I'm just trusting in the Lord and in the doctors, right? The point of the story is, and I've had my peace with me every time. I'm sitting there. The point of the story is, right, no matter what's happened, I believe that this happened for a good reason. I'm already starting to see the reasoning. I've had so much time to contemplate my life a little bit, see where I'm going, see what has happened, see, you know what I mean? Because it's when you work every single day and next day turns into the next day, turns into the next day. So many things happen so fast. And it's sometimes you can't even realize how far you've come and how fast things have grown, and you don't even really know where you're at yet. You know what I'm saying? You think you know where you're at, but you can't even, and I think it's good to take some time like I have to really sit alone, sit in peace. And I haven't been sitting alone. I've been like outside, letting the sun come in, letting the birds. I was listening to birds yesterday for like an hour straight, just the birds. Because I think the birds are coming back to Florida. Like it's been warmer. They're back, right? So, or they're hatched, whatever it is. But I'm hearing more birds now every morning and in the afternoon. And this afternoon, yesterday was just bird central. And I sat there and listened to the birds, let the sun hit me, and I cleansed my soul, And I realized, that I'm being, God has slowed me down for a reason with my leg, man. And I can still do the charts. I can still focus. And within focusing, if anyone followed me or was in my trading group, I've been trading Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been tough. It's been up and down. I've been trying to wrestle it. It's like a stallion. But gold, man, we put it in position down here. We said it looks great. And we've been rocking it ever since, and I'm excited to see what can happen to this trade over time. It was a $5,000 entry too, not even that bad, I watched the consolidation. I watched the dump. I started spying it. Once I saw it got tight with the 21 above the 200, I made my move. Same thing here. And I could see it kind of doing something interesting here. So, and the stochastics still have room to grow on the 4 hour, which is amazing. So it looks good to me. It looks like it could full send into the weekend. And again, not to be real, but there's a lot of talk of the World War III, and that's that's pushing the price of gold up again. You'd think it would push the price of Bitcoin up, but it's so speculative right now. It's creating fear and risk on. That's a risk on asset. Gold's kind of considered a risk off asset. Like people think, well, I'll get in when the market's like really risky. I'll jump into gold. Like when the market's doing well, they'll jump into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has been shown to be risky. You know what I'm saying? Gold has been steady despite, you know what I mean? And so, and with its bounce back above 5K, everyone thought for a second it was kind of like a meme. It did this insane move to 56 and a dump down to 44. I mean, that's insane for gold. It took, prior to that, it took January 16th, January 13th of 2026 to, right? So it took 2 weeks to do the dump. And then it took about 3 days to do, it took 2 weeks to do the pump, and then it took like 4 days to do the dump. It's interesting. Like the dumps can happen you can make more money way faster on the dump. It's kind of like the old saying goes here, right? How's the mic? Even though I'm not all the way in there, do I have to be like really up on it? I can get closer if I must. There we go. Now I can be really up on the microphone there. Take you where you want to go. We are watching the British Open here, folks. We are getting into the late tap of the day. And it's been an amazing journey here. Watching it here on hole 18. Draw on draw. They are both at -11. And we have McGregor for birdie. Nicholson stepping up for his biggest drive of the day, folks. Here we are at hole 20. There's no hole 20. Here we are at hole 25. It's been a battle of battles. Funny. Let's take a look at what's happening around the markets here for Bitcoin and the rest of the world. Decred, my only coin that I liked, man, up 48% in 7 days. Sammy called it. I don't know how I did it. And my group's not big enough, I'll tell you that. Like, that's just absolutely amazing. With volume of 16 million on a $613 million market cap, that ain't too bad. Circulating supply right now is small, too, for Decred. Only 17 million, so it has a very small supply. It's interesting. Max supply is 21 million, so that's like Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? Listen to that. There's 17 out, and there's only 21 million coins. So they can't dump on you. They can't get them behind your back. This is a coin that has, like, that's interesting. And, you know, I never really focused on that. And there's only a few coins with, you know, Dash has a small supply, Zcash. Doesn't mean just because it has a small supply, it's going to do amazing, but it's good to know that, like, you know, a lot of these coins have billions and billions, and they're only like, there's like 10% out right now. That has, you know, wow. Like what, 80, 90% of the circulating supply. Something over 80, because 2 into 16 is 8, 2 into 17, you got one over, you know. Anyway, so the point is, wow. Interesting, right? Bitcoin attempting to bounce again, saying that it's not going to put up with the nonsensical. It wants to keep moving. It wants to do damajo. There is a chance here, somehow, some way, we get a bounce in this higher low. For whatever reason, we're just digging in here. Smaller time frame back at the 200 moving average again. This is just like, look at this, like a double bottom. Get a bit of a double bottom here, you get a bit of a double bottom here. A quadruple bottom, right? Head and shoulder looking like it may be defied. You know, who knows, man? This is just nuts. So what I would do here is I would trade maybe the 3-minute 200 moving average. You get above it, then I trade it. You know, right now I'd be, or like I told you, I'm just waiting on the 4 hour to close a green candle next to a red one above my green area here. Looking for a bounce off this trend line back to the top. So at the beginning of the stream, I looked like, what I love about the stream too is I'll start the stream sometimes and I'll do one thing, two things, and I'll even kind of seem confused in my own mind. I'll be kind of dabbling with time frames. I'll be playing around. You know, but by the end of the stream, like, it's almost like everything I did was a puzzle to a piece that fits tight. And next thing you know, like, I kind of see it pretty clear. And before you know it, I'm like, okay. You know what happens if it does make this higher low and it bounce? We'll be some of the first people to have even talked about it, right? And other way, you know, I'm sure I'm not saying, you know, I'm just going over this awesome sauce the way we look at it, right? So again, it could easily just continue to dump. It's not amazing right now, but the point is, you spend your time feeding your subconscious, and eventually somehow the charts that have showed you before will show you again. It's such a humbling experience to listen to the charts and not listen to yourself. You don't tell yourself that you know it all. You don't tell yourself you know what's happening. You let it flow. You let it chill. This is what we're looking for now for Bitcoin, really. Tightness. Still a chance we kind of double bottom here and we, you know, for whatever reason, we stick it. I don't. So crazy. And again, I'm open to the dump to 38K. I'm not trying to be in denial. I'm just going over what could happen. I'm showing you how I trade the markets. I want everyone here to make life-changing wealth. If you're buying and patient, it's going to happen. If you buy when your fear and greed is 5, you're lucky. All of the famous shillers are still saying we're going to have a massive pump. He said, Sam will tell you the truth. I mean, I'm attempting to figure it out with each and every one of you every day. We do this together. You know, I don't have all the answers. If I did, I'd be 100% in trading, and I'd know every single move, and I'd nail it. And I'm not 100%, right?
I don't hit every single move. I'm as good as I'm the best as I can be every single day. Like, you know, put my best foot forward and we go from there. So like the idea is this, it's you gotta kind of shoulder head. I assume this is gonna make a dump, right? Like I told you, we're waiting to see the 1 hour connect to the 21 again. That 21's far from the 1 hour time frame. And then maybe, you know, once that happens, we'll get a continuation dump here. Down to 65K. Anyone new? We get the education we receive from Sam and Master Fred to make gains up or down. Join the 99. Take the class. Get the education. Go to CryptoLifer.com. Someone says US versus Iran will dump to 30K. It's so crazy. Yeah, my Bitcoin long and short both green. So weird, right? It's not the best sign because it means like one could have been better than the other. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Basically, I mean, both should have been taking profits at certain points. Who knows? I don't even know. Good luck to you, man. I hope you nail it perfectly. Maybe you're on the scalp, Bob. You're on the bigger trade down, and you're still inside the zone of the bigger trade. So it actually could work out perfectly. MSTZ, my man. Right? Wow, direct depositing his checks into Bitcoin until last Thursday. I'll be doing this until October 9th. Wow, my man is on a mission. Yeah. Oh, I've gone through all of John, man. Yeah. We've gone through the entire book of John. I mean, I knew the book of John. I went to church every single week. I went to Catholic school. I went to Catholic, you know, and I... like literally a school where we had to go to, you know, a day, one period a day, we learned about Jesus. And then I also went to St. John's where I took theology and learned all about how the Bible was formed, the Nicene Creed, how they put it together, all the different books, when they decided, you know what I mean? Kind of like the history of how the Christianity even was, you know, was created, right? That's, you know, you could take a course on theology at St. John's University. It will teach you basically the history, and then I read the Quran. My wife is Muslim. I would like to read the Torah and the Talmud. I'd like to read it all. Like I want to know I know. Thing is, a lot of people I know that a lot of my Jewish friends. I've had a lot of Jewish friends growing up, and a couple of them I knew what was called Kabbalah, and they told me a little bit about it, but I didn't know if it was like I didn't even really know what it was, but you know. So. I did know that like things I learned in sacred geometry. I then saw, like I used to see the Star of David, right? But I saw it in sacred geometry all the time. I got deep into sacred geometry for a while, and then I was like, why is the Star of David in sacred, why is the tetrahedron basically? So the Star of David is basically the star tetrahedron, right? You know that, like it's the flat version of the star tetrahedron. You know, the tetrahedron. And then you get into that tetrahedron and you start learning so much about shapes and frequency, light and vibration. And that's kind of where sacred geometry brings you. And then you're like, is this Ascension? Is this the Book of Life? Like, you know, there's definitely a cross of reference there. You get into Kundalini. You get into, you know, if you don't, basically, as a man, if you don't let out your loins, if you know what I'm saying, you don't let it out. And you let it sit in you for a month, like it channels back inside, and it's an energy that can be really utilized in a way you've never thought possible. Okay. So... again, I'm on another idea here, but this is just, you know, this will help everything in life. Trading, ideas, right? Fasting is another thing that comes into play, right? Dot with a strong move above the 4-hour 200. I like what you're saying there, yeah. So what you want to do is you want to flag out the 1 hour and see if it can stay inside of a flag. If that can kind of start to jump and go sideways, then you got yourself another trade. This is how I do it. I mean, high risk right now is the jumping, right? But the idea is if it looks good and there's a chance, I mean, I put the stop maybe a little lower than there, see if it can go up and down. This is just my low risk way of trading, right? And there's a 4-to-1 right there with a possible move up. So, you know, as much as I don't love the project, for whatever reason, DOT is doing what it's doing, and I'll put an alert on it and I will trade it shamelessly. 100%. See, this is why people make me mad when they say that you don't know what you're talking about when you are well studied, my friend. Yeah, use a stop loss, harness my loins for a month, buy a vibrating chair. for profits. Yeah. I love this guy. My ex-wife is Jewish. None of her family are kosher, but none of them are Orthodox. Interesting. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom, my friend. James was Jesus' brother. The book of James is incredible. I recommend y'all open Judges and learn about Samson. Yes, I know. Didn't Samson have long hair? He cut it, right? And that like took away his power. My best experience is to always keep a reverse short open, even in the red. Really? I appreciate all the words today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. Sam, I love you. I love you too. And I think we're all here learning information. We're human beings. Here's the one thing. Someone that thinks they know it all is insane, because the knowledge on this earth is so vast that in 100 years of your life, with AI spitting knowledge to you every moment of your life, and you taking it as much as you can, like morning, noon, and night at 10 times speed, you couldn't learn everything on this earth. And you couldn't untap every mystery. So, just be on your journey and be happy with the little crumbs that you receive before you pass. It's so crazy, right? When you really want to be honest about it. If you want to AI it, like your brain opens up and says, well, how much of all the knowledge out there will I really learn before I die? And it's probably like points. It's like a speck of sand on the beach, And even if you, like I said, even if you had AI at 10 times speed coming at you every single second of the day, and you were able to obtain and remember every single thing you read and heard, which is like not even possible either. And even then, you would still learn probably a speck of sand to a beach of what's out there in information. Not saying you don't hold information, and not saying we all can't be sages and experts in our field. That's why people pick a field and get just really good at one thing. Like a really good criminal lawyer, a really good, dentist, and then there's dentists who really only do caps and crowns, dentists who only do fake teeth, dentists who only do, gap, and then there's basically people that are intricate inside of, there's niches inside of niches. All right. That's why my locks laying low. I told you the same reason. It's my antenna to God, my strength. Amen. Rare setting up for a beautiful bump. It actually is. I'm a major holder for your information. I love to hear that, man. God bless you. I'm out from the series dude, John from Calvary's, Arizona. You received in an email. Interesting. No, I will though. Riches get stitches. Ooh, wow. What? He says, brother, I'm short 65.9 for Bitcoin. To me, it looks like it's going to dump. I'm just, the long I would take is if the 4 hour we're able to put in a tweezer bottom. It doesn't, we're looking for it. Doesn't seem like we're getting it. We got 1, we got 2, and the 1 hour says nay. We'll see though. There's a big supportive resistance that we're sitting on. There's a trend line here. It's likely we kind of bounce off the top of the bottom and back to the top. This is what I'm looking, just kind of just chop, right? I could be wrong. Chop or dump. Either way I see it, Sam, you've changed so many lives. Those that show up every day actually change their hearts, mind, and life. Thank you, man. Yeah. I'm so grateful for your time, Sammy. I'm grateful for my career. I'm grateful for not to have a needle sticking out of my veins today. Sobriety is my strength now. God bless you, man. I'm happy that you got out of that lifestyle. Yeah. Someone says, looks like an inverse head and shoulder on the 1 hour. Like this bigger one here, like shoulder, head, right shoulder. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. That's possible. Yeah. No. In fasting, you're actually more, you're kind of more on point. By the third or fourth day of getting into fasting, you start actually getting a higher strength inside. Yeah. Like you really get this extra strength. You really do. Let's take a look at Decrypt. And it's funny, I put it out. I put an alert on it. We talked about it. We went over it. My students were talking about it. And, so we looked for the alert here. The entry was somewhere there at 25. When the alert hit, boom. That thing's booming. It's at 36 and continuing. And it's 38%. And again, I don't, it was the only coin I saw. I looked through hundreds of projects. They're all down here. This one went down here, made a low. And December of 2025 there, near Christmas, made a higher low in January, made a higher low there in February, made another higher low the end of February 20th. And so to me, it was just telling me, hey, look at the cup and the handle here. A cup and a handle with a rip to the upski. It told me something was brewing. We were going to get a move, and we did. So, when just, as I kind of sit here and look at this, it's like, and that's why the strategy works so amazing at that I teach. We just need real price action. We need some good volume to show you the strategy over and over again, time and time again. Sam, I always look for advice you how to reconcile the controversy between Quran and the Bible about crucifixion for Christianity and history and high probability proven, but in Quran denied. Yeah. You see, I didn't think that. I thought the Quran believed everything that the Bible believed. It's just an addition. It's just a clarity version of it. The only difference I think between Muslims and Christians is like Muslims believe that there's one God. They don't, you know what I mean? And for them, it's just real simple. Like you pray to God. To me, it's kind of like an envelope. Like they almost believe Christians, if you believe in God, right, as the one and only being, right, like above all. So Muslims believe there's just one God. It's really simple to them. Like I have to be honest, when I was younger in Christianity and they said there's the Holy Spirit, there's Jesus, I got very confused. I'm being honest with everybody. The Holy Spirit and God and it confused me. The Trinity, I was very confused for years too. Because like they gave it to me at 9 years old, 10, 12, 13, by 16, I just didn't understand. And my dad never brought up Jesus for whatever reason. My dad wasn't a big Jesus guy. My dad brought up God every day. He said, pray to God, pray to God. So I grew up just praying to God. I didn't really, no one in my life was like, I went to church and church always talked about Jesus. But I guess, predominantly where I come from in Boston, Irish Boston, like it's pray to God, right? So, right. The big difference is the belief that Jesus is a prophet and not God. Yeah. And so the Muslims believe that like no man could ever be God, but then and I sit there and I ask because I'm still finding my way here, right? And I could tell you my whole story, but whatever. And my wife's Muslim, so we sit together and we have these conversations all day. And I say, you believe Jesus had no father? And my wife says yes, right? So Muslims believe that he was created out of thin air, basically. God placed him right inside of Mary. Even in the Quran, Mary has Jesus. And so Jesus is born without a father in the Quran, like his father is God, right? So to me, Jesus is a perfect man made by God to teach you the way, right? Isn't that the idea? Yeah. So Muslims believe that. They believe he's a beautiful person made by God to teach you the way. But they just think it's weird to say someone is the son of God. I guess that's the only difference for them. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's kind of like the same, because I've been around Muslims and I've been around Catholics. And I've read I basically lived on the Bible my whole life. And I read the Quran, right? Most people haven't gone both ways. So they don't even, when I didn't even know anything about the Quran, I thought they hated Jesus and thought Jesus was a liar or something. You know what I mean? I really thought that. I had no clue. I didn't know that Muslims believed in Jesus until I was like 29 years old or something. No, maybe not 29, maybe 25, maybe 26 or 27. But it was way later on in my life, right? Yeah. And honestly, both religions are so beautiful, they should just get along and love each other, man. They both believe in one God. And that means you have to be good to everybody. So whether you believe Jesus is the way or you believe in one God, you both are commanded by God to treat people with respect and love. You're both commanded by God to live in love. You're both commanded to be grateful. To be ungrateful is a sin. In the Muslim religion, to be ungrateful is a sin. My dad used to tell me that as a kid. One of the things my dad told me over and over again growing up, and my dad was Irish Catholic, just, make it clear. It's a sin to be grateful. And it's a sin to, have something that you could use and not use it. It's a sin to have be able to get, be smart, but not use your smarts. That's a sin. Right? Yeah, the Lord knows your heart. I truly believe that. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, whatever you are, as long as you're a good person who believes in good faith and good help, as long as you want to do good for others, you believe in the best in everything in the world.
I truly believe you will be brought into the kingdom of heaven. You know, but that's my belief. You know, everyone has their own belief, and everyone has the right to that belief. And no matter what anyone says to anybody, no one's going to change someone's true, deep inside core conscious belief. We all know that, right? So, and your life and your lessons and your experiences will kind of mold that belief, right? Only way is this, okay, I said to redeem the world. Only way to get into heaven. Being good don't get you into heaven. See, that's what, you know what I mean? So, like, that's where some people differ. You know what I mean? That's just like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? For me, I feel like without even knowing, you listen to the words of Jesus and it's obvious that like his teachings are amazing, right? And he's saying that, and when he says through me, only through me you can go through God, he's saying is only through my teachings, man. Don't you understand? Like that's what I interpret it as when I listen to the book of John. You know, many times in the book of John, he does say, whatever, I'm not going to get into it, but you can read it yourself and listen to it yourself and interpret the words, right? Right. Yeah. I'm a good person, but you have to protect your kindness. Some people won't see it as kindness. I agree with that too. That's also true. It's a sad world in which we live in, right? Anyway, the point of the story is to never let your religion get you above others. To never treat people down because they don't have the same beliefs that you do, right? And to never hold negative thoughts and emotions over anything because that's low frequency, no matter how you think you can. Even if your religion lets you believe that you can hold low frequency, then it's hurting your soul and your own. It's giving you cortisol, number one. It's a physical, right? It's causing you stress. So look at Bitcoin taking the dump. Really looks like it's going to go lower, almost like if you have to. I'm trying to be perfect every day and nail it, right? Some days it just, some days it just is what it is. Was a little bit of a descender. Look, they keep trying to catch it down here, though. So look, they dumped it down here, wicked it up. They dumped it down here, wicked it up. They dumped it down there, wicked it up. They dumped it down here, trying to bounce it up now. Looks like a bull div is the RSI is moving up, but the price is moving down as well. I'm waiting on the 4 hour. I want to give it 4 to 8 hours to really see what's happening. Maybe I miss a dump there, but it's Friday, so I'm not going to get too crazy about it. Right? Yeah. He says, the truth of the talk is to find God in your life. Yeah. I'm not offering anyone offend, but call this, I'm a Christian who believes Jesus died for my sins and fulfilled prophecy. Agreed, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah. I like this guy. He says, nobody knows the whole truth but God himself, but so many people think they do and say that's God, but actually the opposite, and humble themselves knowing that you don't know everything, right? Yeah, I know nothing but the fact of my own ignorance, right? Yeah, exactly. Did I put the wrong summary up this morning? Really? Is that what happened? I don't see it. No, I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah. You have to understand that there's so many people of all walks of life here too, and all there's different religions here. All walks of life, all beliefs here on the stream from all around the world, So I'm tolerant of everybody's ideas and beliefs because that's just kind of the way I feel is the right thing to do, Yeah. Hard to believe any text just, yeah. All right. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, somebody said, hey.
Shoulder, head right shoulder right there. You can see it. Bear City. Just like, it doesn't look fun, right? Rounded tops. Just looks pretty bearish to me. Yeah. There's radical everything, man. Yeah, there's radical of every single religion in the world. There's radical people of all sorts of stuff. There's people that are radical with being a dog and they dress up like dogs. I don't know why, man. There's so many people doing wacky things out here, bro. If you try to figure everything out, then you'd go insane. Looks like we're going to dump down to 64,900 here to this next key level. It's been short all day long. I mean, look at that thing. It looks ugly. That's why I don't long, like really when it gets real messy, I don't long until we get above maybe the 3-minute, the 5-minute 200, maybe the 1 minute, but it's got to be right. Like there, we almost had it. Nope. And then right there, kind of, we got a pump, but nope. I was a deacon at a Baptist church. I call myself the drinking deacon. You're funny, man. Nice tie, Sam. Thank you. Appreciate that. God bless you. And I don't mean to offend everybody. I hope everyone is cool with whatever. Like, I just, you know what I mean? Not cool. I don't want to say cool with whatever, but I hope people like are open, you know. Someone says I'm a radical artist. Yeah, amen. Amen. Yeah. Anyway, I got to jump on out of here. I'm going to do the top data analysis for the day. It obviously is another short day in this bear market as we continue lower. Could have taken some gains down on a short there, head and shoulder, but I'm just, you know what it is? I'm getting my stitches out. I hope today, you know, I'm like been like just kind of in my own little world with what's happening with my leg. And it's a Friday, and I just want to rejoice for that. And I just want to say thank you to everybody here on the stream and appreciate everybody here. Anyone that hits a link, anyone that supports me. If you want to trade where I trade, we trade here on Weeks, on BTCC and MEXC. I greatly appreciate it. It means the world to me. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, like from the bottom of my heart, like for my live channel, for everything that I do here every day, and for everyone that shows up. Wish I gave you a perfect trade today. Market, I mean, technically you could see it looked pretty dang bearish, right? Look at that. Even looks like a double top. And the 1 minute never got back above the 200 moving average, which you know is my sauce. So we don't long. I kept telling you we were waiting for the 4 hour to close at 200. That has not happened. It got close yet. We're actually challenging the low again. It looked like the 1 hour was going to bounce because it had so many like 4 hour candles sideways, and then it just decided to collapse, right? Now we're looking for that 15 minute to kind of come out, or the 5 really, of a descending triangle. Shoulder, head, right shoulder dump, and then just looks like lower lows. Let's kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture too to make sure we're not missing anything. You can see everything dumps with Bitcoin. Everything gets a nasty red when Bitcoin gets red. It's so crazy. It's interesting where we ended up after all that in 2025 when you think about it. So technically like a descender here on the bigger time, on the 1 hour, right? Lost the 200. Daily candle, mighty bearish. So what I do is I make a pattern. If we lose the pattern and get back in, I act like it never happened. So I just really like act like this doesn't exist. And then I just kind of go the length of the pole again and get right back into what's going on. So honestly, I know it's crazy, but it tells you, hey, I mean, you could buy the breakout of the short right now. Stop right here, let that puppy dump, and take that thing down to 54K. You're on the other side of the point of control. You know, not the best trade. You're technically buying the breakout. I like to do better, but the market's been sketchy. That literally, to me, is confirming that we're likely going to dump. Maybe we reverse right back up again and make a shoulder. You know, it's been very interesting. But to me, right now, if I had to make a call, it would say short the market right now. Maybe you only get to here or here. Maybe you only get to this wick. You know, maybe you don't take it all the way to the target, but to me, it looks like a short is the most likely scenario. Right? You will get tendinitis once the bandage comes off. Try not to fall. Interesting. Don't shower immediately. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jamal. Good luck with the doctor, my friend. Everything will go good positively. The stitches coming out hurt? Is that going to hurt? Or do they just snip and like pull? Or like, is there going to be some blood? Like, oh, man. I don't know. I tore both my Achilles. Took 2 years to heal. Dang, man. At the same time? Oh, my God. God rest your soul, brother. Anyone that has told me that this has happened to them, you're like, they're warrior, man. Like, it's crazy. Right? You said I shorted at 66. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that looks like the likely scenario. No blood. No, it doesn't hurt. No pain, brother. Really? Interesting. Okay, cool. All right. Well, there I go. I just got stitches out a few weeks back on my hand, and it just feels weird when they come out. Not painful. Just a prick. You'll feel fine. A prick. Interesting. I had 100 plus staples taken out. Jesus. Paying me. I'm very appreciative of everything we get from you. God bless you, man. Thank you. Going off of the 13-month-a-year idea you spoke of in ancient Hebrew gematria, 13 translate to love and unity. 13 plus 13, 26, and 26 translates to God. Maybe something there. Hey, you never know. Yeah. Just refresh your internet, man. Yeah. They tickle coming out. Interesting. Anyway, I love you all. I'm going to do my top 10 analysis and get it done right now so we could kind of move on into the weekend. But I love you. I thank you all, and I'll be on in the group throughout the day. And we'll be breaking it down, talking about Bitcoin. If I see a trade, I'll give it to you. It looks bearish to me. Looks like we're going to come for this low and just continue to dump down. But it looked bearish 2 days ago. It looked like we were going to continue to dump down too. And then they threw a huge green candle. And so maybe the 4 hour, makes a green candle. I'm just going to take it day by day, everybody. I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm taking it day by day, one step at a time. The odds are this is going to continue to dump. It's the 21, it's touching, and, if this was bullish, we'd be pumping out of it. So the odds are we're going to continue to dump, okay? But you guys got to, you'll figure it out for yourself. I'll give you the best education I can, and we go from there. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Let me just get that music up and running before we go, but thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when we post our next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Remember, crypto is life. And the one thing I always leave you with is the secret to success. And you know what it is? I figured it out. I actually know what the secret to success is. It's getting started. You're not going to be great to start, but you got to start to be great. And next thing you know, you're going to be somewhere in life that you never thought you'd be. But you got to believe in yourself. You got to have discipline, and you got to keep pushing. I love you all. I'll see you on Monday for our next big show, but I will be here Saturday and Sunday and 4 live streams throughout the weekend. So look out for me, and the monthly close tomorrow night at 8 p.m. as well. So I'll be streaming. I'll be working. I'll be grinding. I'll see you there.